It's the Mustang Insider Show presented by Cal Portland, the largest building materials company of cement and construction material products on the West Coast. Now, here's Chris Sylvester, the voice of the Mustangs.
All righty, welcome into another edition of the Mustang Insider presented by Cal Portland. As we flip the calendar to the month of November, that means we're closer to college basketball. And Cal Poly fans ought to be excited about both basketball team, the men's basketball team, a lot of newcomers, a lot of potential, a lot of excitement there. But women's basketball, when we had Coach Faith on the show last week, feels like some unfinished business. And one of the big headlines, questions coming into this 2020-2021 season is, what is the freshman phenom from a year ago, Abbey Ellis, going to do for an encore performance? She is our guest here on the Mustang Insider. Abbey, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know it's busy all of a sudden now with, virtual class, and we got election week, election day this week. Maybe we should call it election week. And then, of course, the start of the season is just a few weeks away. So, if you could summarize the last couple of months since you've been back in the States.
Thank you for having me, first of all. I'd say it's been intense, being kind of thrown into the deep end. Personally, I wasn't here in the summer. I was back at home. I actually couldn't physically get over. So I came back in, had to meet all the new players, the freshmen, the transfers, and had to basically integrate straight in to practice. And it's been, we haven't looked back since. We've up to 20 hours now. Schools, like, we're right into exams and heading into the final weeks. So it's been very intense, but nothing short of what I expected coming here.
Well, nothing short of what you expected, but certainly we are so excited for your second season in the Cal Poly uniform. Obviously disappointed with how you guys couldn't really finish what you started last year in the Big West Conference tournament, but it really feels like that last portion of last season has given so much more life and so much more energy to this group that's coming back this year. I mean, you have a number of returners that saw a lot of significant time last season. What was the biggest thing you guys did to kind of turn things around late last season, when maybe at the beginning of conference play you weren't winning the games that you thought maybe you could have, but you guys turned it on to a different gear in that conference tournament? You took down the host, Long Beach State, in the first game, and then you just absolutely dismantled a UC Irvine team that had beaten you guys twice in the regular season.
Yeah, it was crazy, but I think what changed was our mentality going into, especially first off, getting into the tournament. That was our first goal. But we came into with the mentality of we had nothing to lose. We're the underdogs, and let's make them play our game. And I think that's what we did, especially having experience against Irvine and Long Beach. Especially Irvine, we really wanted to obviously wanted to win, but both those games that we lost, we thought we could have won and we could have played better. So that was the mentality of let's just do it and surprise everyone. We got nothing to lose here. And I think the older girls in the team really stepped into the role of their being leaders on and off the court. We were really serious in the Big West tournament, taking care of our bodies, and even the few weeks leading up to that. But it was definitely a mentality of, let's just go out, have fun, ball out, and just make them play our game.
You're from Australia. That's no secret. We can hear it in your voice, and it's a unique accent. I think everybody loves hearing the Australian accent. I think it's just awesome. I mean, you think of the cartoons that we all watched growing up, and certain Madagascar and whatnot, and Finding Nemo, right? So
Yep.
You're familiar with all that.
Definitely.
You played your high school ball at Our Lady of Mercy, and you come here to the Division I level, and you made the transition almost seamless in a lot of ways. And I know that you'll say, and your coaches will say, that you got better as the season went along, and that's certainly true. but why was it so easy for you? I mean, what was the competition level like in Australia to where you could come here and play Division I basketball and have a lot of success right away?
I think it definitely was in reference to high school basketball. That was more of an individual development as an individual player, and I think they really focus on basic skills from a young age, and then you build up. Well, I think was the main uh, what mainly helped was actually club basketball. I played with a lot of girls who are actually in the Big West Conference, who are Irvine and some are at bigger schools, and we all played with each other and against each other. So we had a high competition that we were playing, that I was playing as well, that prepared us for kind of, being at college against bigger, older bodies. But definitely playing at such a high level with like club basketball and state teams and stuff and playing nationals, it definitely helped preparing myself as well mentally to be against bigger and older bodies basically.
Abby Ellis, our guest here on the Mustang Insider, presented by Cal Portland. She was a Big West all-conference freshman selection. She averaged a little more than 15 and a half points per game, almost a steal and a half per game. You ranked 13th in the NCAA in scoring among all freshmen. And that's impressive considering the hype that a lot of these recruits get coming out of high school, 5-star, 4-star. She's going to be in the WNBA before you know it. But I mean, certainly you were very highly touted coming from Australia, and many Division I programs out this way wanted your services. But what led you to pick Cal Poly back when it was decision time? And a year and a half, almost 2 years into the experience. So what have your thoughts been of the Central Coast on California?
Well, first of all, the whole college process was very overwhelming, very new to me. It really was a lot of talking to schools and stuff, but then uh, narrowed it down to I definitely wanted to go to a West Coast school. Just personally, weather-wise, and then geographically was just an easier transition. Uh, and Cal Poly, to be honest, they were just so persistent with messaging and skyping, and it made me feel really wanted, and that's a big thing for me. Like I don't want to go somewhere where I wouldn't want to necessarily be cared about, which I felt as soon as I came here on my visit in September of 2018. I instantly felt like I fit in with the coaching staff, and then with the girls, they were so nice and just open arms, and it really was like I really felt like I belonged here as soon as I was visited. Like I left with my mom, and I was like, damn, I could really see myself being here. And she was like, I love it. She was, I love Slow, and the city of Slow and the campus it's so beautiful. And I think I I definitely made the best decision. It's been a big, yeah, 2 years, and it's just been such an experience that I don't think many people get to have.
You mentioned how you've been here almost 2 years now, and the NCAA came out recently and granted winter sport athletes, including yourself, an extra year of eligibility. So essentially, this 2021 season's not going to count towards your clock. I know you're just a true sophomore, but among you with maybe some other underclassmen, what's been the consensus, opinion on that? I mean, is that something you guys are looking at this early in your college career and thinking about, okay, well, I'm going to play, for in your example, I'm going to play 4 more years, or is that going to kind of just be something, we'll cross that bridge when and if we get there?
I think speaking to definitely the other underclassmen and me right now, it's just we're gonna cross that bridge when we get there. Especially this season, we're really trying to focus on this season, and because we got so many seniors in our team this season, so we're just really trying to make this one of the best seasons that we can have, and then yeah, cross that bridge when we get there. But definitely, the extra year does give a lot of flexibility, and then we got to think academically, And I know our academic advisors are already onto athletes with all that. So definitely that's something in the future that we'll think about.
I want you to check this out real quick. You see this? Can you? I don't know. It's there it is. There it is.
There it is.
It's
Yes.
like a Cal Poly Mustang's debit card. I'm going to tell you about it here real quick. American Riviera Bank, proud supporter of Cal Poly Mustang athletics. If you open a Cal Poly Mustang checking account today, American Riviera Bank will donate $150 to support student athletes like Abbey Ellis. This interest-bearing checking account includes unlimited ATM surcharge refunds plus an exclusive Cal Poly Mustang debit card. Cal Poly checks as well. Visit arb.bank/Mustangs for more info on American Riviera Bank. Had to get that plug in. Let's talk hoops again. You guys have been practicing at 6 a.m. every morning. Faith was telling me that certain players are getting in there even before you guys are supposed to be in there to get up shots and get ready for this rapidly approaching season. What's it been like to be back in the gym, able to practice, and I'd imagine maybe feeling a little bit normal during this time where not much else has?
Yeah, it's been so much fun. I think that's the word I personally use, especially getting into contact. We've been doing contact the last few weeks. It made it more game like, getting back into it, and then it's been very competitive. All the girls have just come in, and we're all friends, we're all teammates, but we are going at it in the most healthiest way. But it's just been really nice to just play against each other, be competitive, and it's just nice playing ball again. I personally missed playing ball for what, 5 months. So this is just I'm using up every minute that court is available. I try and get on it.
I know.
Try and get on it.
And we hate to take you away from it for the next 15 minutes or so, but we're happy that you've been able to make some time to chat with us. Now, when you were back home at the beginning of this whole mess, were you able to have access to shoot the ball and work out, or was that something that was kind of hard to come by for a while?
When I initially went home, probably for the first month, it was really hard you couldn't get an indoor stadium, but certainly outdoor parks were all open, so I was able to work out then. And then for about like 3 months when I was home, yeah, you could go into gyms and shoot. You could lift weights at the gym, so that actually wasn't that bad. I felt like I had the bit of the advantage in that kind of respect. So that I felt like I sorted myself out routine wise, and the coaches were able to send me workouts, and I knew the girls were working out over the summer. So I was able to tune in to what they were doing and try and replicate it back at home. So yeah, definitely wasn't too restricted, but just it still wasn't the same being with the girls.
Hey, tell me a little bit about your relationship, your friendship with Sierra Campsano. I know there were a few stories done regarding how she kind of took you under her wing, and you guys developed a great bond on and off the floor. And I know you're getting emotional talking about it here already. but what's it been like to play alongside someone as talented and as knowledgeable about the game as she is?
Yeah, she's been in the college system for a while, and you know what, I definitely missed her when I was back home, and she's literally, I think I've said this in every interview I've done, but she's like my mother, my American mother. She takes care of me, watches out for me, but also I think we both have that same competitive spirit. When we're on the court, I don't know if you can tell, but we can just yell at each other, and we know it's not personal, but we both will have that instinct to win. And we will also want to be the best player we can be, the best teammate we can be. But she, yeah, instantly welcomed me with open arms, and she was so excited. Every time I see her, she's so excited. It just makes me smile. So yeah, she's definitely like a mother to me over here.
So you're going to get another season at least with her on the floor. And we mentioned last year how through non-conference play, you guys were trying to kind of figure out your identity, figure out what worked and what didn't for you guys. And then towards the end of Big West play, and obviously the 2 games in the Big West tournament, that's when you guys felt like you played your best basketball. Being that there are fewer non-conference games this year, and the Big West format's a little bit different. You're going to be playing back-to-back days and nights. Uh, how much urgency is there on starting off the season, kind of how you finished last season, and maybe not waiting so long to kind of flip the switch and play your team's best basketball?
Yeah, I think with the season under our belt and, reflecting on last season, you can already tell how we compared this right how we look right now to last season. We are a completely different team in November. We're definitely taking we haven't taken any steps back. I think we're moving so far forward, and we're looking everyone's buying into what the coaches want, which is really nice. Everyone's 100% committed. And I know Stanford's our first game, so that'll be actually a really good game to see where we're at non-conference. But we're really just trying to focus on us right now instead of who we're playing, because we really want to be, as you said, ready for conference. And with those back-to-back games, it's going to be tough, mentally and physically. So we're definitely trying to get our bodies and our minds ready for a big 3 month 4 months coming up.
4 months, and hopefully you guys can extend that longer and longer. I know that you guys have some big expectations and aspirations. Abby Ellis is our guest here on the Mustang Insider, presented by Cal Portland. You mentioned that opening game, Thanksgiving Eve, 11:25 up north at Stanford. I mean, they were a top 10 team before the shutdown back in March, and they return a lot of talent here this season. And that's going to be the case more times than not when you go take on a Pac-12 team. But the circumstance and the situation at the game itself is going to be different without any fans. And while we're so accustomed to playing in front of our loud, crazy Mustang fans inside the Mott Athletic Center, we're going to miss them so much when you guys start to play some games at home. Do you feel like there might be an advantage for you guys playing without fans compared to maybe a team like Stanford with the bigger arenas and the more fans that they tend to get in the Pac-12 and beyond that in some of the NCAA tournament games?
Yeah, I definitely think it is more of an advantage. I know they do have very big crowds, and it would have been a season opener, which a lot more people would have gone to. Uh, but I know for a fact, we played at Long Beach, and even though there was no crowd there, it still had that game atmosphere. And I know all of our bench were hyped, like we were so loud. So if we bring that same energy to not only Stanford but every game, I think we can be crowd or no crowd, we can be a very influential team. But it definitely is still will be a very tough game. They are a Pac-12 team, and they got some very good athletes. They're an athletic team, so we're definitely gonna have to be switched on. But I think being the underdog, again, we have nothing to lose, so we're just gonna play our game and do our absolute very best and leave it out on that court.
For all the love and the credit that you guys got for being such an explosive, offensive team and hitting a lot of threes there late in the season last year. One thing that I don't think fans should overlook is how good of a defensive ball club you guys were for the majority of last season. A couple of numbers that really stuck out to me. You guys held opponents to 37.5% shooting last season. That's the number 2 field goal percentage defense in the Big West, which is really good. And you surrendered just more than 60 points per game on average. That was the top defensive allowance since the 1976-1977 season. That was almost a good 2 decades before Cal Poly became a Division I program. You averaged close to a steal and a half per game. How important is defense for this group as we embark on a new season? And is this team's identity at times going to be defense and not so much offense and three-point shooting?
Oh, most definitely. We as a team, and I know our coach stuff pride ourselves on defense. We want to be that team that no one wants to play. We want to be that team that, especially I think in the Big West, you could tell. We emphasize like if we just wanted a sea of Cal Poly defenders. Like there's no space to drive, and I think we really take defense to heart. And I know that in practice we are on each other's butts on defense, getting low, boxing out. We definitely want to be known as a defensive team because offense can always come. Um, You know, we have a lot of individual talent, especially this season coming up. So you know, if a defense is such a team movement, and once I think we really had great connections and communication. So if we just bring that into this season, and we're working a lot on our defense right now. So I do think that defense is going to definitely win us games, but be known as that team that you don't want to play because you know we do try and shut down as many players as we can.
Abbey, last thing for you. I know it was such an interesting, unique off season, but if there was an aspect of your game where you felt you improved the most from the end of last year and as we get ready for the start of this year, what was it?
Ooh. You know what? I'd
You
say
could say a little bit of everything if that's how you're feeling.
no. I'd say probably the biggest one basketball wise was I tried to improve my range. I think I have. I'm not sure how the coaches feel about that, but
You're just gonna pull up from 30 and see how
oh
it
yeah,
goes.
exactly. And if I miss, I miss. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. But I know the coach really wanted me to step into a role of leadership, and I have really taken that to heart. So I've been trying. I know there's a lot of seniors in the team, but I've really tried to step into that leadership role on the court as a point guard, and you know, running a lot of the plays. I feel like I should uh, be that person that people are allowed to come and talk to, like on the court and stuff. As a freshman, I felt like I was a bit timid, but now, you know, being nearly 2 years with the girls, I think that I'm trying to step into that role of being a leader on and off the court as well.
Abbey Ellis of Cal Poly women's basketball, sophomore to be. We'll see what she does for an encore after that phenomenal freshman season a year ago. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to the season opener, 11/25, November 25th, up in Palo Alto against the Stanford Cardinals. Should be a fun one. Thanks again, Abbey.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Mustang fans, that was guard of the women's basketball team, Abbey Ellis. She was our guest this week. Next week, we're going to explore the other side of the spectrum and chat with men's basketball head coach John Smith. But I want to send a message out to the fans, and we miss the fans so much. I know we haven't played any sporting events at Cal Poly since mid-March, but when we do play the sporting events on campus, we're going to really, really miss the fans. And we got a cool opportunity for fans. Cal Poly Mustang fans, do you have what it takes to ace the fan exam? That's right, we're putting you to the test. Play the new live college sports trivia game presented by Captain Bill's Subs and hosted by Mike Golick twice a week, now through December 17th. Put your knowledge to the test for the chance to win some great prizes. Sign up to play now at gopoly.com/thefanexam. We'll see you next week on the Mustang Insider presented by Cal Portland.
This has been the Mustang Insider Show presented by Cal Portland, with a commitment to environmental leadership that has made the organization stronger and is the primary choice of contractors. The Mustang Insider Show. The preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation of the Cal Poly Sports Network.